Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Matt Brown from NST. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. What is slowly becoming late lunch with Matt. Hope everyone out there is staying healthy and safe. Today, we are talking about digital web marketing, something that I know NST does put a lot of time and effort into. Our social media, our website, our Google Analytics. And the good thing about today is that we're going to have Harrison Barron from NST. He's going to be showing you Google Analytics and eCenter, which is the tool that NST uses for social media. We also have with us Brian Spano, who's the head of the NST web team. And we're going to show you a lot of cool stuff today. Feel free to keep it interactive. Any questions that you want to ask, feel free to jump in and ask a question. I will stop either Harrison or Brian along the way and take those questions. Like I said, NST spends a lot of time and efforts into our digital marketing. We do put a lot of stuff up on social media. We primarily focus on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So those are the three tools that we use the most. We do have a couple of people that are allowed to post. So if somebody is out and about and looking at an event or something like that, they can post. But most of the time, we let our main man Harrison here do a lot of the posting for us. So with all of that being said, Harrison, I am going to turn it over to you. I'm going to make you the presenter, and then you can share your screen. So take it away, my friend.
Alrighty. You guys can't see my screen yet. Show screen. Perfect. Sorry, guys. Just selecting screen. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep, we're good. Go ahead, Harrison.
Perfect. Awesome. So we're going to start off with some digital marketing and stuff like that. So right off the bat, obviously, your website is going to be your salesperson, essentially, for your business when your salespeople are actually sleeping. So the beautiful part about that is it can work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And this is one of my biggest stressors, is because a lot of people don't actually understand the full value of a website. And it's just like a salesperson. You have to train it, you have to coach it, you have to put the information in there for people to actually be able to find it. So I'm going to take you guys through some search features and things like that, some analytics, and then we'll roll right into social media. So obviously right here we have NST's website, and there's a bunch of different things on here. The biggest key factor to remember when you're building or working on a website or having somebody review your website is to have buttons. Buttons should be pretty frequently located around the website, giving people the option to not only click around, but also potentially go and buy somewhere else on the website, right? So how can we help? Let's talk. These are really important features that are going to help bring people closer to making the sale. The beautiful part about the website is you can have it also educate people, you can have it teach people, and then when people are ready to buy, or they're ready to make a decision of, hey, is it this company versus this company, they could do their own research without calling and making contact with the company. That's the beautiful part about it. So you want to make sure that you give people a lot of options on there. So in theory, the more content you have on your website, the better. And we're going to go right into your Google Search Console overview. So up here, you'll see your Google Search Console. Anybody that has a website has a Google Search Console. And it's basically Google's version or Google's way of saying, hey, not only is your website connected to us and we can show it out to the world, but also it's going to give you some really interesting statistics and analytics as far as who's clicking, what are they clicking on, where are they visiting, and stuff like that. This is all stuff, if you're hiring somebody, that they are going to know how to do, but it's good that you can go in and check to see, hey, what's going on or anything like that. Now, we are in a weird time with coronavirus, so people are adjusting their ways of thinking and stuff like that, but in here you'll see performance, and this is really the heartbeat of the website. So you'll see January started off good. We did a website swap over here, so Google had to adjust what they're seeing and what they're showing people. So in the purple line, you'll see the total impressions. In the blue line, you'll see total clicks. Now this is all organic. This is not paid searches. This is not any ads that you've been running. This is purely Google showing you, hey, this is the company, right? So an impression is if I search IT companies on Long Island. Now these are impressions. So managed technology, TCI technologies, all of that kind of stuff is going to show up. And now it's coming up with these, right? So these are going to be when Google shows you these, and disregard all the extra gibberish over here. These are all getting impressions. So you can see Long Island's top workplaces, Newsday, Melville, Glassdoor, right? These are what Google registers as an impression because it assumes somebody has looked over it. So that's what you're looking at. Now, the click-through rate and stuff like that, I don't necessarily trust the click-through rate that Google provides because there's a lot of words that you might not be ranking for or Google showing you versus the words that you actually want to rank for just because of the amount of content you have on your website. So you'll see there is usually a direct correlation to some degree on how many impressions you get versus click-through rate. And down below, you're going to be able to see what, in my opinion, the most important part about it. So you'll be able to see your clicks and your impressions on what you're showing up for. So people that are looking to get more traffic, I always recommend them to go to the impression section because the click section is where you're already getting clicks. The impressions is where you want to start to work more towards, right? So I've already gone in and started to let Google know, hey, we've made these adjustments. Start to show people these different things on the website, right? So Google is a giant cruise ship. For it to drive and maneuver and turn, it takes a while. So you can't expect your changes that were made a week or two ago to impact today or tomorrow. They usually take between 2 and 3 months, as crazy as that sounds, for Google to really say, okay, great. We see that you've made changes on your website. We're going to start to show those new changes out and really start to potentially rank you in different keywords. So right off the bat, you'll see network solutions, small business IT solutions, cybersecurity solutions, NST, enterprise IT solutions, right? These are all really good keywords. Now you might be wondering, Harrison, why didn't they get clicks? Well, the reason why they didn't get clicks is prior to me being here, some of the metadata or the descriptions, right, when you look underneath the website, didn't give the searcher enough information to make that person click through. So they may have seen the website, but the information down there might not have been what they were looking for. And because of that, they might have gone past and said, hey, you know what? I'm not looking for any of these. Maybe I'll go to the second page of Google for anybody that goes and visits that area. And now you can see, okay, great. Now we can look for what might be interesting to that person. So you have to think about what that person might be searching for and how to adjust those meta descriptions for those different search queries. The beautiful part about that is if you're curious to know, hey, I'm getting a bunch of searches in this area, but I'm not getting clicks, what page is it on? You can actually click that page or click that search query, and then you could select the page, and it's going to tell you what page on the website needs to be adjusted. Essentially, you have to be able to make the correlation between the two. Now, you can go and visit this page, but you really want to go to the back end or go to your web designer or web developer and say, hey, let's take a look at this. Why are we not getting these clicks? What can we adjust and things like that? And they should be able to go in and adjust it on those pages. So these have already been updated, but it's going to take Google, like I said, a couple weeks, potentially even some months to really start to say, hey, let's start showing this again with the new meta description and get those clicks up. Now, I want to cover some analytics because I think analytics are super important, but essentially this is your Google Search Console. This is what Google's showing or Google's way of saying, hey, this is what's going on your website. We want to let you guys know about any of this. Before I go on to analytics, Brian, do you want to chime in on anything in here?
Not at this point. Sounds like you're moving forward. I have a couple things I'll mention towards the end.
Cool. So inside analytics, this is where Google is going to show you real-time and past searches. Now, this does include ads and things like that. It's going to give you really good information on who's visiting your profiles, who's not visiting your profiles, right? And where the traffic's coming from, what's influencing the traffic, and all that kind of stuff. So as you can see right here, right, we were just on that page. So Google Analytics actually knows, hey, you have a visitor on that page. This is what it's showing you. You could search out 60, 90 days. You could do custom preset days, 28 days. Typically a month is what people do, or 7 days if they're doing a regular ads campaign. So for the sake of this exercise, we'll do last 28 days, and now it's pulling the data. So what this is showing you is the entire process, or the amount of clicks that you've gotten through this period, and also what you did the week prior to this day. So you'll see the thick blue line, and then you'll see a dotted blue line. Now you have users, how many people have visited your website with all your campaigns. You have sessions. So sessions are a little different. They're just really potentially somebody coming back to your website and sitting on there and things like that. There is your bounce rate. So the lower the bounce rate, the better. The higher the bounce rate, the worse. If you're in the upper 90s, you probably need to revisit some things. If you're in the lower threshold, that means you're doing something good. So anything really below like an 85 typically is good. If you're getting lower than like 20 or 30, something might be wrong with your website. I've never seen anybody ever get that low. But you have to remember what people are going to your website for. So they might have a higher bounce rate than other companies, but that could be because people are going to their website to get to the portal or get to a phone number to call them. And it registers that as, hey, they called, they were on the website for a minute or two because they know, hey, I need to get support, or I need the phone number, or I need to send an email through them. So these are also things to keep in mind when you're looking at these. And then session duration. This is going to be how long people are spending on the website. So typically a lot of people are going to be getting the information they want and going right to NST and either picking up the phone or sending an email to support saying, hey, we need help. Can you let us know? Right? That's all of that. In here, you'll be able to see your acquired users, where they're coming from. So direct, paid search, it'll give you a nice little breakdown. Sources and medium and referrals, where this traffic is coming from. So direct, Google, organic, and cost per click. So that's your advertising, your SharePoint, and anything like that. And this will break it down as far as what referrals, what kind of secondary sources. So NST.com, people are linking back to NST.com. There's YouTube on there, there's Google on there, and then other, which is a good chunk of it. So you might have a variety of different things. You could have LinkedIn, you can have Facebook, you can have Instagram, you can have Pinterest if you use Pinterest. These are all different things that Google will actually show you, hey, you got a visitor from those areas. Over here, we'll see sessions by country. Who's visiting, where are they visiting from? So Canada, obviously mostly in the United States, because that's where you guys are servicing. But you'll see, hey, Russia's looking at your website. There's people in China looking at your website, people in India looking at your website, right? Typically, there's always going to be traffic coming from there, especially in the technology world. But it'll give you a breakdown. If you're a company that works internationally, this might be really, really valuable for you to see where a lot of your visitors are actually coming from. And then it kind of gives you the breakdown of pages, active users versus non-active users, where they're visiting you guys from. So desktop, mobile, tablet, all of that kind of information is where you're going to be able to find this here. I don't want to go too in depth on this because it is a lot to look at. On a kind of brief overview of where you're getting traffic from, what is valuable versus what is not valuable to look at, and ultimately where people are spending time on your website, because those are areas that you could say, hey, let's start to make adjustments, or let's start to say, what can we do better in these areas versus areas that might not be performing well, and you're spending time, energy, and effort in those areas. So always look at what pages people are visiting, right? So Meet Our Team is a popular page on the website. Obviously the home page. Contact, which is great. You always want to see contact up there as a highly visited page, because that means people are reaching out. Any referrals, the about section, all that kind of good stuff for NST. Now in here you'll see your audience. This breaks down who they are, what they're doing. We just went through the real-time report and kind of the overview. And this is just going to be who's visiting, where they're visiting from, right? New visitors versus returning visitors. This is a great statistic because there's a lot of new visitors coming to the website as opposed to returning visitors. That means that could be potentially new sales coming and knocking on your door, and you can say, hey, we have a lot of new visitors coming to our website. We might need to add new buttons or change colors on things, because that would help increase the amount of people coming to you and saying, hey, we want to buy your services. In here, we'll go just to audience real quick, and it'll break down your audience of who people are. Why is it not showing up? We'll go to demographics, actually. This is going to give you a breakdown of who people are, the age range, male versus female coming to your website, anything like that. This is going to be just information for you to say, hey, it's pretty crazy. The average people coming to the website is between 25 and 35 as the highest percentage, and then typically the 54 is where it's starting to drop off at. But that's a pretty nice bell curve because you're looking at a younger audience that might be taking over dad's business or mom's business, looking to make changes in the business, looking to be the visionary and saying, hey, we need to be a technology forward company. And because of that, we need a strong technology partner. So think about why these people are visiting your website. And from there, there's a ton of different other areas inside analytics. I don't want to go too deep on this because it can get pretty out of control and you could get pretty carried away in this kind of stuff. But this is an overview of your analytics. If you guys want, I highly recommend you ask your digital marketing person to say, hey, can we see the analytics? Can we look at the analytics? What do they look like? What's going on? What should I know about? What shouldn't I know about? And that kind of stuff. And what changes are we making on a regular basis that are going to impact our company? So we have one person live right now in Texas.
Harrison, let me interrupt for 1 second. So I think the one thing that people have to keep in mind here is that there's a lot in here, right? And for me, Matt, I didn't understand, all these analytics until Brian and Harrison actually taught me them. So while there is a lot in here, right, I don't want anybody to feel overwhelmed or anything like that. This is definitely something we can help with, right? Even if it's helping you evaluate your current digital marketing provider, and whether that's internal or external, we have no problems in helping and sharing and reviewing what you are currently doing, what your currently digital marketing strategy is, and helping you come up with either a change of strategy, B, maybe a better strategy, or even starting a strategy. But you'll find that when in today's world, right, when you think about it, most people, when they got to look something up, they're going to go to Google, right? They're not going to the paper, they're not going to print ads. None of us really keep, although my wife does, keeps around, menus from the local restaurant, but everything's online now, right? So these are all really good ways to promote your business through digital marketing and through Google searches. Sorry, Harrison, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, please. I encourage it. But yeah, there's so much in here. You could go so deep with it, and that's kind of what we're doing here. We're doing an overview of what is Google showing, why are they showing it, and different ways to think about what's going on. So you can take this information and either say, hey, our web guy is doing a great job, or our web guy is doing a not so great job, and we need to either seek help or we need something. Actions need to be taken to improve everything. So this is a breakdown of Google Analytics. There's a lot that goes on in here, and Google Analytics and Google Search Console kind of play hand in hand as far as who's visiting, what's going on, and all that kind of information. You want to chime in on anything on here, Brian?
No, not at this time. Looks good.
Cool. All right, so the last thing I want to cover with you guys is a software called eClincher. It is a phenomenal software. After vetting and stuff like that, it's kind of given me a lot of trust as far as what it's going to be able to produce, how it's going to help you post different things, and anything like that. So in here, you'll see some scheduled posts, but I just want to kind of cover how you guys can minimize the amount of time you're spending working on your social media and start to optimize, hey, this is the most efficient way for us to work. Let's look at that and say, what could we be doing? What could we be scheduling? And instead of going on saying, oh, you know what, it's Tuesday at 9 o'clock, it's too late at night for me to post. Well, you could schedule something out. You don't have to necessarily go and do it yourself. And eClincher is a phenomenal platform. I highly endorse it just because of the functionality, the robustness of it, and ultimately you can do a lot more in this platform as opposed to other platforms that would give you a lot of restrictions. So we're going to cover just some publishing, what you guys can publish, what you guys can't publish, what platforms you guys can publish on here. But for this, we're going to go to publishing groups, and we are going to NST, right? So these are the 3 accounts that are hooked up to this platform for NST. And we're going to just kind of cover exactly what you guys would normally post online, but instead of doing or remembering it at 9, 10 o'clock at night, you can say, hey, it's the 1st of the month or the 2nd of the month, and let's start to plan out the entire month. The other beautiful part about this is I can go in and schedule a bunch of different things for NST, and Matt and the team can go in and say, hey, we really like this, or they can make changes on the fly saying, this could be done better, or we should link out to this, or anything like that going on. It also allows you to kind of change things up, release things at certain times when you know your audience is most active. These are all different features that you guys can take into consideration when you guys are using this platform. So right off the bat, we're going to be able to just produce a piece of content for NST. And in here, you'll have a bunch of different options that are going to allow you to not only publish, but also adjust, modify. And the beautiful part about this is this software and this company, they've been doing a great job at kind of changing things, right? So you have your tag post campaign. So tagging different posts saying, hey, this is part of a campaign we're running. Do we want to, we want to see later on down the road or in the future what is going on with this campaign. We also have saved replies and hashtags. So if somebody asks a regular question or a hashtag that you're using on a regular basis, so that's a great spot to just drop in a quick little hashtag. Now you'll have things like linking, shorten links, so that way it doesn't take up as much space. Because if you see down below, you do get a certain number of characters. Now Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn have a larger amount of characters, but there's platforms such as Twitter where you're only allowed up to, I believe, 280 characters on a single post. So shortening a link might save you valuable real estate for adding more information. Then we have a Sniply, add an account. You have an emoji. Obviously, emojis are pretty popular right now. You can attach a video or GIF. So the beautiful part about this platform is, unlike other platforms, you can upload larger videos that a profile would normally take. So such as Facebook can take a larger video, or Twitter can take a larger video. This platform will work more seamlessly and allow you to really put a video that you really want on there, as opposed to potentially another platform which might restrict you guys. Free image library. If you guys want to go peruse for an image, right? They're giving you a ton of free images. So if I wanted to search tech, there's going to be a ton of free images that you guys can use for technology. And just saying, this looks kind of interesting, right? Standing out from the blocks, you can download it or you can attach it to the post. And now you could just say, hey, you know what? I didn't have an image. Now I just found an image, totally free. They do let you use it. They do vet everything. And I want to modify it. You can go right in here, Facebook. It'll tell you what sizes you could use. I hear somebody. All right, good. Sizes that you guys can use for these different things. So it'll give you the recommended size for each platform. So little do you know, there is a recommended size for each platform. Instead of just using the same picture, it will automatically adjust the size of the picture for you. But you might say, hey, I want to make a Facebook picture and a LinkedIn picture, and they have to be different sizes in here. This is a great spot to go in and adjust it. So let's just say fits all 800 by 800. Give it a second to load in here. And now it's going to load in a software called Canva. Now, I don't use Canva. I use a third-party app called PicMonkey to do all my editing. But in here, you'd be able to modify exactly what you're doing and to get the picture you want. It makes it a seamless process that you guys don't have to really think about and worry about. Like I said, I use a third-party app just because it gives me a little more flexibility than Canva. But if you're looking to just get content out there and keep going on that stream, and you want to just do quick modifications, this is a great option for you guys. And Canva is totally free and included in the platform with most of its features.
Hey, Harrison, one of the questions that's come up is, I know we see that we are using, obviously, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. What are some of the other platforms that eClincher syncs up with?
Oh my goodness. It pretty much goes to just about every platform. As far as, I'm trying to get the little link here. Hold on, I'm gonna give this thing a refresh. But it'll go through just about any major social media platform. So Twitter, it'll go out to even Google Blogger. Let me grab the actual full list in here, because this thing's giving me a little bit of a hard time. Probably because of this. Hey, there we go. So in here, you'll see LinkedIn, Google My Business, Pinterest, Google Analytics it'll even link into. YouTube, I'm a little weary on YouTube. If you know how to use YouTube, I would highly, highly recommend staying off of that, just because there's so much more customization you could do in YouTube. And then Blogger. And the nice part is these integrations actually work flawlessly. And then these are some additional integrations that you guys can use if you needed to. So if you're connecting to a Dropbox account with a ton of footage, a Google Drive, Zendesk, Sniply, Bitly, right? URL shortener, Pocket, Feedly, and Yelp. These are all super powerful. So now you can kind of go in and really tailor your own experience to it and take away, oh, you know what, I don't have pictures on my computer. Well, if you're working on somebody else's computer or a temporary computer, but you have all those pictures in Dropbox or Google Drive, that's a place that you can go get them. Or if you're using Office 365, pull them from SharePoint and then bring them to your computer and then upload them. Those are some different options. Question answered?
Yes, thank you.
No problem. So in here, we're going to just grab an image. We'll go back to tech. This looks pretty interesting, right? And then you can take this image and you can go in and adjust it. So if you wanted to put text on here, because it is a lot of blank space, and say, Happy Tech Wednesday or anything like that, or technology's changing the world, here's what's going on during coronavirus, anything like that, that is what you're going to be able to see. Create a custom video using Wave Video. So if you want to edit a video in here, you can do that. Try to keep it under a minute or two, just because that's what platforms typically like. If you're going to do a longer video, make sure you upload it directly to the platform. You don't want anything getting messed up in there. Free animated GIFs if you want to put up a GIF, and then add and manage accounts and stuff like that. Now you can put your message in here. We're just going to type message for the purpose of this video. And then you have the ability to hit schedule now or post now. Let's go grab those profiles again. And you'll be able to see, okay, great. Now it's giving you up to 30 hashtags to use. So Facebook actually allows you to use up to 30 hashtags. I don't recommend anything more than 10 hashtags for Instagram and LinkedIn, but it'll give you, hey, add a location, tag different people in the Instagram post. And it's one of the only platforms that'll allow you to tag people in an Instagram post, but also give you the option to boost it on Facebook all at the same time. And the beautiful part is, too, it'll give you suggested hashtags. So if you're looking for tech, it'll give you a list of those hashtags that you might have had a hard time thinking about, right? So tech, technology, programming, code, right? It's going to give you technology-related hashtags because the system is designed to do that. And it's giving you the top 50, right? If we do computers, it's going to give you a more robust options as far as the top 50 and say computers, gaming, PC builds, PC gamer, right? These are all things that are coming up, whether it's on Google or social media, as a highly searched hashtag. And the beautiful part is you can just click them off and add them directly to your post. So it really takes a lot of the guessing work out. It takes going to a third-party app and saying, hey, what hashtags to use? And then the beautiful part is you can schedule or post now. So in here, you could save it as a draft if you're looking for somebody else's approval, add it to an approval list, assign an ad to an approval list, things like that that really give you functionality as far as if you have a team of people working on this, or if you have a bunch of contributors, now it could all go on one person, and that one person can say, hey, I have to approve everything. You can add it to an approval list, and then once it gets that seal of approval, you can move forward with it. And then ultimately, you could either do post now, or you could schedule it in the future. So if you want the schedule for Thursday, you could hit add to schedule, and then you're going to hit done. I'm not going to hit done because this post is not done yet. And it'll schedule it down the road and make sure it goes out at that time, right? So on Thursday, we already have a post pre-made. Now, if somebody wanted to come in and adjust and modify it, you can do that as well. You just hit the edit button, and then you can go in and adjust. Hey, I want to change the date. I want to change the time, any verbiage or anything like that. But now this is something that's going to get people's attention. You can make sure you're staying on top of your digital audience. And ultimately, that's going to tie into your Facebook. Do you want me to go into Facebook and Facebook analytics or anything like that?
Hang on a second, Harris. We have two questions that have come in. So going back to eClincher for a second, right? So first question is basically, what's a good number? How many posts people should do on social media per day or per week?
So it depends. If you are doing it for a business, I would say per week is a safe number is 3 to 4. If you really want to be aggressive, I would say 5. Typically, you have to remember when your ideal buyer is going to be online, right? And when they're going to want to look at this kind of stuff. So typically a business owner who's going on Facebook might just, if it's a Saturday morning, they don't want to be bombarded with business stuff. They just went through 5 days of being bombarded with Facebook content. So by not posting on a Saturday and Sunday, and I've already seen this happen where people will spend time and energy on a Saturday or Sunday post, and then they don't understand why they're not getting the ROI that they deserve. Whereas a Monday through Friday, they're coming to the office at 9 o'clock. They're taking their lunch break at noon. Those are good times, right? Lunch breaks typically happen between 1 and 3 o'clock, depending on the person and when they're going out. So between, I shouldn't say 1 and 3, noon and 3, right? That's a good hour of the day to post. You also have to remember too, what are they interested in? Are you posting content that is going to captivate, draw them in, and say, hey, you know what? Look at this, right? Virtual desktop is available to any size business. Here's a link, and now they can click that link, and that link is going to bring them to none other than the NST website, right? So driving that traffic back to a place where they can ultimately buy is really, really important. If you're giving out data and you just want to give out information and potentially build a brand, then not having a spot for them to go buy is not a bad thing. But it's ultimately what your strategy is and what your goal is. But don't force people into clicking find out what's behind this link and click that. No, you have to give value in order to get value out of it.
So staying with there, Harrison, two other questions. So number one is, somebody would like to know, can they have their digital marketing team using eClincher create a post and then send it to the marketing director, somebody to approve it? Is there an approval process inside of eClincher?
Yeah, so typically there's two different ways that you could do that. So the way that I like to do it is, if you're going to build the content out, schedule it out, or talk to that should be a conversation that you're already having with your digital marketing manager, but saying, hey, by the way, either a new post is scheduled out. I'd love for you to go look at it. Typically, you're really only going to have trusted individuals with the social media or access to eClincher, but otherwise, saving it as a draft, scheduling it out previously, or adding it to your add to an approval list. And that approval list is just going to be a list of posts that are, see, now it came off of it, right? So now I have to go in and approve that post to get it to re-show up down here. So maybe that social media manager will either go in and say, hey, this has got to be added to the approval list, or like, hey, this is kind of 50-50. We're not sure we want to do this. Let's add it to an approval list. And then when you go into your approval list, which is, sorry, they just changed the interface on here, you'll be able to see where did they move it to? I apologize, guys. Hold on, I have to do some third-party stuff. But they'll be able to go in and approve that post to ultimately say, hey, let's go in. And you could assign it to a certain individual. So, for example, Matt's on this account. So Matt can go in and actually see what's going on and all that kind of stuff and say, hey, let's go into that approval list.
Okay. So another question is coming too about social media posts, right? And advantages to boosting. Is there really an advantage to boosting? What are the advantages to boosting? So in answering this, Harrison, maybe you want to go to, I know we were looking at the NST Facebook page, right? And we were looking at the post, and we were looking at the one that we boosted maybe a week or so ago. And obviously the number of visitors you're getting from a post by boosting it. Can you just touch base on that a little bit?
Sure. So ultimately, when you're see, and here's your approval list. Sorry, guys, they actually moved the little flag. That's what I was looking for. But essentially, what you're looking for is, you want a direct call to action if you're going to spend additional money on Facebook. Facebook actually limits the amount of reach you're going to get when you post something. It's quite frustrating for people like myself and people in my position where, you have a business owner that says, hey, why am I not getting the reach that I we have 800 followers. Why are we not getting 800 views on everything? Well, Facebook shows it out to a small sample size and looks at the engagement on that. And this is kind of the general platform as far as social media goes and how it works. So if you have something that's either a really good piece or has a call to action that you want somebody to either watch a video or come in and make a phone call or something like that, those are posts you want to promote. You don't want to promote a post that just says, hey, check us out, this is going on, right? No, look at some of the posts that you've made over the last coming weeks and see what's been working and what's not been working. So, you wouldn't want to boost a happy Easter post, right? Because everybody and their mother is making a happy Easter post. But if there is something on COVID, for example, that let NST provide a virtual desktop, right? This is important. You want somebody to click that link. You want them to go back to your website. This would be a great post to boost, because now you can boost that to a network that might be interested in having a virtual desktop and being able to work remotely, as opposed to just hey, look at us, we're great people.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. Harrison, anything else you want to add before we wrap up here?
I mean, that's pretty much it. If you guys have questions or anything like that, by all means, reach out to NST. I'm more than happy to help you guys, walk you guys through this. Like I said, take a look at your stuff. If you have questions or anything like that, the best place to start is with your existing digital marketing person and saying, hey, can we see our Google Analytics? Can we see our Search Console? It might not be the most beautiful charts, but it's going to be the most accurate coming from the major search engine. And then going in and saying, hey, what social media platforms are we utilizing? What are we not utilizing? Should we adjust our strategy? Have we gotten any clicks from it? Because you never know. This person might have stumbled upon this NST post, and then they click through to the website, and then they got to this page, and they say, let us help you in dealing with COVID-19, right? And then they click on let's talk, right? Ask IT experts. Perfect. Here's a phone number, right? So essentially that's how you're going to create your funnel, because they've already found you on Facebook. They've gone to your website, they've done some research, and now they're reaching out to you and ultimately closing that gap from potential buyer to engaging in sales activities.
Harrison, I wanted to ask a quick question for
Sure.
as far as the analytics, right? So, so you mentioned that eClincher has its own analytics, and obviously each individual social media platform has their own analytics. Do you find that one is better than the other? Do they display different details that might be important, or are they pretty similar in most regards?
So I've used a bunch of different eClincher type platforms. So like HubSpot, not HubSpot. I have used HubSpot too, but Hootsuite, Buffer, eClincher. There's a pretty wide variety of these. The problem with a lot of these platforms is they don't really provide the analytics that I would love to see, right? So if I just click analytics, right, it's going to give a bunch of pages, what's going on in these pages, but it really doesn't say, if I'm looking at, I don't know, one of these accounts, let's look at your account, right? So NST, here it is, page likes 499, up 1%. Well, that's great, but these analytics don't compare anything to what like these analytics will give me as far as information goes, because good decisions are made by good analytics. So the better the analytics, if you have the time and resources, I would highly recommend going through and looking at these analytics and saying, hey, what's going on? Because this is going to be the most accurate, right? Like eClincher doesn't show video views or anything like that. It's just going to tell you kind of like engagement. Same thing with Hootsuite and stuff like that. They're not going to give you the best version of analytics that you can really say, hey, this is what we want to do and this is where we're going to go.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I would agree 100%. I think that each individual social media platform has its own decent insights that for analytics, and the detail there is a little bit more direct. Do you mind if I take a few minutes and just discuss a few other things with regard to how websites in general should be prepared for campaigns and analytics responses? Does that sound okay?
Sure,
Absolutely. You want me to share the screen?
No, that's fine. I'm just going to chat. So basically, I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that obviously analytics are important when you're determining a best course of action when planning some sort of marketing change to the website or an adjustment or a campaign. So I just want to mention a few things that I think are really important for websites when starting a campaign and before a campaign is actually created. Obviously, whatever content that might be relevant, that has to be designed appropriately and viewable on all browsers and on all devices, so responsive appropriately. One of the main keys to ensure that your visitors are protected is that your sites are secure. So every site that you have, whether it's transactional, meaning e-commerce, or not, should be secure, meaning they have what's called an SSL, or a secure socket layer, and you would notice in the browser it has HTTPS, which Harrison's highlighting there, and that obviously the content is relevant. Whatever you're entering into the website should be relevant. It's detailed enough that it's relevant in terms of keywords and phrases that might be appropriate for whatever your targeted campaign is. One of the other really important items and elements that I think are that should be taken into account before any campaign is created is the page insights. So Google offers a page insights platform where it can evaluate the speed at which your site is displayed. And one of the things that you can do is utilize that tool. It's free. And utilize a tool to determine if your website has those insights, and it's divided into two areas. It's divided into whether it's mobile or desktop related. So some of the scores that you see as a result of the analysis that occur, it's important to analyze this to make adjustments as much as you can to get that score as high as possible. Can't always get to 100, but especially since a lot of times what happens is you want to display the result in a way that you're able to improve upon that score depending upon what the balance is. You have a delicate balance. Obviously, everybody who develops a site or has a site, you want it to be visually beautiful, and you want users to be impressed by your effort in creating the website. But at the same time, you do want search engines and content users to see the information in a timely fashion. And sometimes when doing those types of things, you don't have that ability when you're riding that fine line. So it is important to do what you can to improve the page insights. Developers can assist with that. A lot of times it is image heavy issues that can cause that problem, which are usually easily fixable. Sometimes it is related to some scripts that might be running that you're not quite sure of, but things like that are important. And lastly, to improve upon some page rank, some of the things that might be important to think about is some compliance with the Disabilities Act. So to make sure that your site has what it needs to have in terms of appearance. So as what Harrison is showing, there are kind of utilities that you can add to your site to improve upon accessibility for disabled users, and those types of things have a huge benefit when it comes to page rank that Google can offer you from a marketing perspective. So while that's not a critical item to your specific campaign, it can be a very big benefit to your users. So as you plan to broadcast messages, new users that may have those issues or that may have browser related problems that can be corrected by some development changes should be thought of and planned out before you send the campaign. So that's all I wanted to mention.
All right, great. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that.
Of course.
All right, good. So that will wrap up today's training session. I want to thank everybody for attending. We'll happily send out the link that will post this video up on our YouTube page. And I'm sure Harrison will get it all set up for SEO for us. And again, please feel free in the future if you have any questions, have any questions about social media, digital marketing, want to take a look at your analytics. We typically will do a review of your analytics at no charge and to help you point you in the right direction. So please feel free to reach out to your NST account manager. I want to thank Harrison and Brian for joining me today. Thank you, gentlemen, taking time out of your lunch.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Great. And want to appreciate everybody coming today. And please remember to stay safe. And thanks again.